Welcome to the Real Advisor Podcast. TRAP, TRAP. Please follow us and join in the conversation on Twitter @Advisor Podcast, where you can suggest ideas and themes you'd like the TRAP team to discuss. Also remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave a 6 out of 5-star review on iTunes. Doing all this really helps us, which means we can do more to help you. Now let's head over to the studio for the latest pile of TRAP.
Yes, indeed, dear Trappers. Welcome back to what many people are calling episode 81 of the Real Advisor Podcast, TRAP. My name is Lick Lincoln, and joining me as ever in the digital studio of Doom are the 3 other horsemen of the apocalypse. Alan, the Storyteller Smith, Andy, Ultra Heart, and Delavocci, Carl, the Voice Widger. Gentlemen, we have a show packed full of absolutely nothing. So let's start unpacking it straight away with another high-energy review read read out by my very good friend, the Right Honourable Mr. Andrew Ursane Hart.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. Welcome, everybody. This review is a long one, but a good one, from Aaron O'Neill, entitled Top Draw 5 Stars. Stumbled upon this podcast by a stroke of luck a few months back on Life Talk Facebook forum, and it's been incredible for me. As a bit of context, I'm a 29-year-old IFA just closing in on the first year in the role. I went through the traditional route, administrator, power planner, now an advisor, collecting my qualifications early in the journey. Of all the financial advice-related content, I've found this the best by far. The conversation is engaging, it's easy to listen to, fingers on the pulse, always relevant, and there's even a few chuckles along the way. I find myself relating to and agreeing with a lot of what is said in the show, as well as challenging my own thoughts at times. More than anything, it makes me excited and proud to be part of the next wave, next generation of planners coming through. You've been recommended to all my colleagues and any of my network with 2 ears that work. Keep up the good work and keep inspiring. Aaron. Back to you, Nicholas.
Wow, Aaron Neil, thank you very much. That is lovely. Yes, please do keep the reviews coming in.
Yeah, I was just saying, are we just about keeping up to date? We're sort of limping in with 1 or 2 reviews because we're fully up to date now. Has a few more come in?
No, we're not. Yeah, we've got a few more in the bag now. We just need one every 2 weeks, but please do keep them coming. It helps in the rankings and all that sort of stuff. But we're over the desperate stage. We've got 3 or 4 in the bag, Alan.
We're always in a desperate stage, just different stages of desperation.
Speaking of desperate, what's going on with the 8 there behind you, Nick?
Yes, for those listening to this, not viewing it, this might be the dullest 30 seconds of your life. That's the best I can do. It's 2 donuts on top of each other.
Yeah, it's really you were big on art in school, I'd say, were you?
I am not an artistic person. I'm an audio person.
You didn't do art O-level, did you? Or
I didn't know. They wouldn't let me.
After your time, weren't they?
It's Nick's one weakness, Nick, isn't it? You one and only.
It is my one weakness, is drawing numbers on a whiteboard. That is my identifiable weakness.
A1 at everything else.
Yeah.
But I'll put a T&C plan into and negate that. Okay, Trappist, let's put in a topical timestamp on this episode 81 of the Real Advisor Podcast with some topical tidbits. I'm going to lead off. We've got exciting news with Trap. We're kind of we're expanding it out. We are entering into a formal partnership with an up-and-coming fund group who are just trying to get assets under management. They're quite a small operation. They're called Vanguard. That's exciting. We'll have more to talk about that in the coming months, but we're doing some content with them for you guys and girls. We've also got some good speakers coming on to Trap. Not every episode, because we know that really you tune in to hear us jabronis talk. But we have got some good people. If I say names like Paul Armson, Pete Matthew, Brett Davidson, Rory Sutherland. So some really interesting guys and girls actually coming on the show in the coming months. So that's all good stuff. And we might even have, heaven forbid, a venue for Trap 26. Storyteller, you went to the venue for a punk gig last week. How did they go? Well, this is all new to us, by the way, Trappist. Whatever Smithy says now is news to us. How was it?
It was fine. That's what I say. Yeah, well, I went. It's a great location, the venue. It's very central London. It's close to that little, it's like the triangle. It's where Dimensional's office is. Andy's held his events, the Royal College. So it's kind of that central London, Great Portland Street, very easy to get to for everyone. Lots of sort of establishments nearby for lunches or drinks or what have you. So I went along to see an old punk band reminiscing of my early days on on Saturday night, just past, and the venue was very good. And I just thought, obviously for a concert, it's all standing only in this place, and we're going to have obviously some seating arrangements, but good bar, well stocked bar, good service, no complaints. So far so good. Looks
Perfect.
like we do have a venue, and we'll be having a live event in the spring.
And the event date is Wednesday, the 13th of May, dear Trappists. So just put that in your diaries, please. And in due course, we'll probably get an email out to remind you, and with a link about the agenda and everything else. But the place is literally you stumble out of Goode Street. Is it Goode Street?
No, Great Portland Street. Great Portland Street.
Great Portland Street Tube Station. It's literally there. I mean, it's there are a couple of pubs nearby as well, which has nothing to do with a choice of venue. It's just coincidental. Okay,
and
moving
the venue,
on.
The venue doesn't close very early because Alan sent us an update at 1:57 a.m.
He also sent a message and deleted it as well, which is always
yeah. They're always the ones you want to see.
Next morning. Yeah.
No, it was not.
Was it that night?
And he got the headline's name wrong, so it shows how much of a diehard fan he is for Becky.
Yeah. Anyway,
yes.
Interesting.
Yes, that's another story for another time.
Good
But,
luck by all.
It was good.
Exactly.
Okay, so the CISI, Sissy, I think so we say it. You went ultra to their recent conference down in Slough, actually Windsor.
Yes, I did. You boys were at the conference with me last year in Manchester, I believe, but you didn't
I was
come
a keynote
to.
speaker.
Of course you were. You don't rock up unless you're keynote. So it was in Windsor this year, 2-day conference, Thursday and Friday last week. It was brilliant. It was quite close for me. It's about a 45-minute drive. There was lots of old friends, lots of new friends, great networking. The content was good. The hotel was enormous. It took about 10 minutes to walk to your room, and everyone was getting lost, but that's a minor point. And in the evening, we had the awards. Slightly annoying that they didn't do it as black tie. It was lounge suits, so everyone was a bit confused about what to wear. But I went rogue. I went black tie. Getting everyone together, staying overnight, 3-course meal, dancing. Just have it black tie. Organisers. That's my recommendation anyway. The awards that night. I'm going to read some of the winners. Paraplanner of the Year was David Cole, Unity Paraplanning. Next up is CFP Professional of the Year, Nicola Ellis from Wellington Wealth, who is an amazing planner. Lots of fun with her and her sister. Finally,
at the dinner.
Sounds a bit dodgy, but we had a right laugh.
Christ.
The Paul Etheridge Award, Financial Planning Future Leader, was Peter Stallworth of Stallworth Wealth. And the Good Egg was Quentin McCormack of Verso Wealth. And finally, Keith Button and the gang, Boost Financial, were the accredited firm of the year. So they're the notable awards for that night. It was decent. There was a couple of planners that came over from Ireland who Carl knew. It's a bit of an international delegate list. So hopefully you boys are coming to the event next year. There were loads of Trappists there speaking very highly of myself, and you guys got a mention.
Obviously,
no, it was a good laugh. It was a good laugh. Well worth the time.
What was the standout talk or speech that you attended?
I like to talk by a guy called Lee Warren, who you may have seen before. He's a very well-polished presenter. He's an ex-magician, but he talks about all the stuff that I'm interested, framing and pitching and using odd numbers when you're quoting prices. A lot of good live stories it's picked up, just from observing the world. He was good. Keith Button did a good talk. It was quite a brave talk where he allows the audience to pick the subjects. So he starts off with 15 subjects. The audience pick via Mementi or some online system, and then he on the fly does different subjects.
That's quite a good idea.
Abraham had a Oxford-style debate that unfortunately I didn't see because I was somewhere else. That I apparently was great, but I'm going to watch that on video. It was just a good mix. Some good, quite a few exhibitors that we all know. the usual faces, and a lot of, as I say, new people. It's always good to see people that you know, but it's great to meet new people. A lot of people there are clients of mine via Hum Premium, so it's always good to get feedback from them. It was good. So hopefully you boys are there next year representing. Out of the professional bodies, it's one of the biggest events, and it's an overnight event, which is good and bad. But if you can make the time, well worth visiting. So hopefully we'll see you boys there next year.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Okay. Now, one of us has been abroad recently. You've been beer festivaling, storyteller.
Well, not really. I was. That was just an added bonus. There's a brief backstory. Brief backstory to this. Very brief. Keep it brief. I was some months ago. I was contacted by the German headquarters of Dimensional Fund Advisors. Oh, here we go.
Grab yourself a drink, a very long drink. It's story time with Alan Smith.
It's been a while. I was trying to tee it up there for you. You got there in the end. You haven't used that one for a while. Anyway, I was contacted a few months ago by my good friend Lucas Schneider, who heads up the operation for Dimensional Fund Advisors based in Berlin. And he said to me, would you like to come over to speak at a financial planning conference that is being held in Munich? And I said, taking the advice of my dear friend Andrew Hart into account, I politely declined, because Andy said once, he said, when you're trying to get famous, you say yes to everything. And when you get famous, you say no to everything. Right, Mr. Hart?
That's what Warren Buffett says, not me. Jesus Christ.
Right. So I said, I'm really busy. Very kind offer, but I'm probably going to have to say no on this occasion. He said, just before you say no, there is one extra thing I've got to throw into the mix. We're holding the conference during the Oktoberfest in Munich, and we've got top tickets for the best tent at the Oktoberfest, and we can roll that in as well. You can come along to Oktoberfest.
More depth than a puddle.
So I reflected long and hard, and 0.5 of a second afterwards, I said, yeah, I'm in. So last week, my colleague Charles and I went across to Munich, and we also had to work this out because they had tickets for Oktoberfest on the Monday evening. And he said, and we're going to work out the conference is either going to be on the Tuesday or the Wednesday morning, starting at 8 a.m. Which day would you prefer? So just run that by me again. Monday night.
So what did you do on Tuesday? Just mull around the city?
That was at leisure. It was just a bit of sightseeing, a bit of preparing. So anyway, that was if you've ever gone, Oktoberfest is one of these events that is kind of always on my bucket list or something to do. I must get round to going there, and the years go past, you never end up going. So it was a good opportunity to get across there. It was fun. I mean, you can't imagine the scale of it. I don't know how many people were there. It was just absolutely massive. Hundreds of thousands of people. We did the right thing. There's lots of shops in Munich where you can rent out the lederhosen. You can rent out these leather shorts and a little hat and everything. So when in Rome and all the rest of it, when in Munich. So Charles and I got fully kitted out, German lederhosen. And
you didn't send us that picture.
Yeah,
Is that for a reason?
Yeah,
I did.
I did. Oh, okay.
I did actually. You just deleted it automatically. It was too much
Waist
for
up,
you.
wasn't it? It wasn't. I didn't. Okay.
Yeah. Was it? I'll send you more later, Andy, if you're really keen.
They had the silly hats
to
on,
see,
didn't they? They
to
had
see my knees.
the daft hats.
Yeah, and he had the braces on the shirt. And,
traditional Bavarian costume. It was fun, and I'm glad we did actually, because almost everyone was dressed appropriately in their local dress, and it was great, really well hosted. But on a shout out to Dirk and Roman, who are financial planners there in Munich, and they've also do various other things. But they hosted the event at the Oktoberfest. Really good fun. And so on Wednesday we pitched up and did this talk. It was basically the Germans had the pleasure of Charles and I for the entire day presenting to them from kind of 9ish in the morning all the way through to about 5, kind of workshop style. Went through the whole process. what's quite interesting is you go to other countries is to find out kind of where they are at in their financial planning journey and experience. It'd be fair to say continental Europe, Germany, there is a kind of aspiring financial planning community, but it's very small at this stage. It is like a lot of Europe. It's dominated by big banks and selling packaged products. They've still got commission. Their commission dominates. The very concept of proper full-fat financial planning is very rare indeed. But of course, you always get these. I remember going to the Netherlands years ago as well. And you always get these sort of early cohorts who are kind of interested in this stuff. Often breakaways. There's people who've been at banks and what have you, want to set up their own independent businesses, do proper financial planning, and understand kind of from the UK, because we are definitely a few years ahead of them, maybe 5 to 10 years ahead in our own journey. So they're, like you go to these other countries, it's, they're really engaged, really enthusiastic. Everything you say to them is kind of new the first time they've heard it, which is, go to a CISI conference. To be fair, you've heard a lot of this. It's good to get reminders, but if you're hearing it for the first time, it's quite interesting. And I want to do a special shout out now to my new friend, Lewis Klinger, who's a young German advisor. And he was very keen to come up to me early stage and say, Alan, I'm a Trappist. He said, I've been listening. He said, I just came across Trap a few months ago. He goes running, listens to Trap, and I think he's up to 40 episodes now in this short space of time. He said, really loved it. And obviously they speak fluent English, which helps. But he was just saying, sometimes I'm going on jogging around, running around, and just laughing my head off at some of this nonsense that we talk about. So Lewis is a great guy. And I just wanted to do a shout out to him, as I say, and also to the guys at Dimensional, to Alan Horowitz, and the guy I've just mentioned as well, whose name I've forgotten.
Hopefully you've got a few of those names wrong and you'll do an apology next week.
I'm pleased to report I'm continuing my reputation as an international keynote speaker.
Oh, right, well done. Go on.
Okay.
Anyway, it was fun.
Good. Well done on spreading the Trap brand on the continent. When I come back in a future life, I'm going to come back and start a platform that loses shitloads of money, and then I'm going to sell it for shitloads of money. Ultra.
This is the story of the Nutmeg platform rebranding to JP Morgan Personal Investing. There's a few moving parts to this. I'll keep it high level. So it got bought in 2021 for a reported 700 million, which seems like a punchy number, but for JP Morgan, let's be honest, it's a rounding error. So they bought a huge amount of clients and distribution in the UK. They've also got Chase Bank, and they're sort of trying to have a holistic approach for people's money. The latest numbers have come out. They are losing a lot of money. The turnover of Nutmeg is, keep it simple, 40 million. The costs are 80 million. I'm just rounding this up. So they're losing 40 million a year. So in the business world, this is called selling pound coins for 50p. Very unsustainable long term. They've got 110 million pounds of cash. I think they've got 265,000 clients or something, and they look after quite a small amount. I think it's around about 8 billion, maybe. There's a link in the docket or the slate, as we're calling it. So all the links are there. Holly McKay has done a good article on it in Professional Advisor. She's calling this the death of the Nutmeg brand, but the death of robo-advisor. As in robo-advice. Thought it was going to disrupt everything, replace the humans, financial advisors are gone. None of this has transpired. The question is, what are JP Morgan going to do to make this a profitable business? Because they can't continue doing what they're doing. So that's that.
Andy, can I just ask you on it was bought for 700 million.
Yeah,
700. Reportedly bought for 700 million, and it lost money every year.
But the turnover, so I can get that even if it was losing money, it might be, okay, well, it will make money at some stage. But the turnover it's 40 million now, so it was probably
40
less.
40 million now, so it might have been as a guesstimate, maybe 25 million. Currently, they have 8.5 billion AUM with 265,000 clients. So the average AUM is about £32,000 per client.
Horrible.
So it's
So
mass
it's
market
low
stuff
value,
and
high admin. Yeah.
and a 30x on turnover. 30x on turnover.
Yeah. And
I've
the balance sheet, which is on Company's House, is horrendous in terms of
No, the balance sheet,
carry
they've got
forward losses.
they've got a lot of cash, Nick. They've got 110 million in cash. They've got a lot of firing power to do some great things. Let's just see potentially what they do.
I mean, I briefly read the article. The AUM, which is the driver of their revenue, has increased a lot in the last few years. Didn't they buy it at 4 billion when it was 4 billion AUM?
Well, it's easy.
It's double. Well, I guess
it's
markets
easy.
are double.
It's
I'm
easy to
not sure
increase
what
your
the
AUM
AUM
if you're buying it, I guess, isn't it?
And the markets are going one way.
Yeah. I don't know whether, but new clients. I mean, they were the poster boys. And
I
girls,
think
weren't
they got very
Nutmeg.
lucky finding JP Morgan,
Yeah.
deep pockets and wanting to connect their overall assets in the UK. As in Chase Bank, we need an investment arm. So they wrote a punchy check. But yeah, it's interesting to see how they're going to monetize this business. That is the challenge. They're going to add more services. I think they've got private client managers for individuals that have got over 250,000. Do they need that? What they're going to be doing? Selling them more stuff to try and become more profitable? I don't know.
Somebody with a
watch this
spreadsheet
space.
at the bank has just worked out. We cross-sell them a lot of other services and get them to do retail banking or whatever.
Exactly.
Somebody who signed off on a 30x on turnover has lost their job.
Yeah,
Because that
probably.
makes, no matter what
Yeah.
spreadsheet you're looking at, that makes no sense
I
whatsoever.
agree with you.
And whoever owned it and took 700 million, fair play to
I
you.
think, I could be wrong, but I think the biggest shareholder a bigger shareholder at the time they sold was Schroders. Because they invested a load of money leading up to it. So I think they were delighted.
Of course they
we
were.
wrote that off. We wrote that off.
bet they were, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
got a big
Yeah.
check. They're
There
like,
you go.
what, really? For that thing? Jesus.
But it's this rinse and repeat, isn't it? We see this so many examples of massive companies where 700 million, as you said, Ultra, is a drop in the ocean. But it is, to me, that's negligent. If you're a shareholder in JP Morgan, that's just bloody negligence. But it's Standard Life
guys,
recently, they're writing off their advice.
No matter who you are, 700 million is not a drop in the ocean. No matter who you are, that's mega money.
Well,
no matter
as
who you are.
we've talked about in the past, if the mighty Vanguard with whatever they've got, 10 trillion AUM, can't make a success of this D2C robo kind of semi-digital advisor experience, then good luck everyone else. Good luck with everyone else trying to make it a profitable. Crazy.
Full financial planning is a luxury product and it needs to be paid for accordingly. It's very hard to scale on small numbers.
I'll give a quick shout out to Trappist David Hearn, good friend of the show, who brought that story to my attention as well on Twitter. He's on Twitter as @Don't Delay, and he's also a man who does 50k ultra marathons and gets through them. The poor sod by listening to Trap, as I think you said, Smith, is sort of torture upon torture. But
Two forms of torture for the price of one.
He was also cancels itself out then. He was also at the CISI conference. Bumped into him. He's always got great stuff to share online. So if you don't follow him, do follow him. Don't delay. Great Twitter handle.
Okay, let's move on because we're at already 23 minutes in. We're only halfway through the slate. Wodge, give us some good news from across the Irish Sea.
Yeah, just developing from the last episode, the Arena Capital debacle has got a lot of media attention actually over the last couple of weeks, and I'm glad it has, because obviously these things are going to be brought in front of investors and hopefully warn them against it. But I was smiling at a couple of the commentary bits in the newspapers. One of them, they definitely didn't, but it sounded like a transcript of what I had said in the last podcast. But then there was a couple of editorial pieces, and they were calling for, the central bank to take action and blah blah blah. So I said, I was reminded of an article or an interview I did with the Currency in 2023. And I said, I'm going to read that article again. So I did read the article again. Now, I got, if you remember, absolute dog's abuse for this article, because the headline said, most financial advisors are untrustworthy, which was not what I said, but I did say it in context of people, financial advisors selling loan notes. So I said it in the context of a much larger conversation. And of course, the guy made that the headline of the article, which I was buried for it, right? And I couldn't say that I didn't say it, because I did say it in the context of the overall interview. But my whole point in that interview was there was two main points, and number one was these loan notes are not fit for purpose. So the folks out there shouting and roaring now after the horses absolutely bolted, and people have lost a whole load of money in a number of different investment loan notes that have gone pear-shaped. Well, this was a problem 5-6 years ago. I wasn't even early in 2023 talking about it. So on the one hand, it's good that this has been brought into kind of mainstream media now, because investors will be forewarned. But on the other hand, the people who have the power within the media, I feel we're sadly lacking over the last few years. And it's a salacious story now, and that's what will get the headlines. But really, that hasn't done anything, or will do nothing to, well, it'll do absolutely nothing to protect the people who have lost their money in these low note investments. So yeah, I suppose I was kind of felt a little bit of vindication, because probably I was a little bit polarized at the time. I remember telling you guys, I read it on holidays on a beach in California, going, oh, Jesus Christ, and subsequently turned my phone off for the rest of the holiday because I knew what was coming. But anyway, yeah.
Well, nobody likes the person who says, I told you so, but sometimes it's justified to say, I did tell you so. And you I'm just wondering, are you going to leverage this at all, Carl? Because you could, with the media, and say, listen, I was talking about, do you want to interview me on this? Because I was talking about this 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever, and nothing was done. I mean, it's, you did call it out ahead of the curve, ahead of the media, and you could make something of it.
I'll be totally honest with you, right? I'm kind of sick of being that guy. So I'm because every time I do it, somebody somewhere finds a reason to have a pop at me, and life's way too short for that. But for the people who had a pop at me back then, right? I appreciate the headline. I appreciate the headline was, come on, Carl, that's not okay. But I didn't make the headline. I did say it in the broader conversation. But I'll talk about the ideas exchange in a little while. That we had the meeting last week. Like, I am encouraging my peers who are doing it the right way to be public about this and be brave enough to come out. And there are a few, for sure, coming out and saying it. But it needs to be more than just Carl Widger, because I just become that guy that's given out all the time, and that's tiresome as well.
The lightning rod.
Yeah, and it's just tiresome. We know ourselves, like the people who are, like we've been kind of giggling at, there's particular one or two people over in the UK who are having a pop at SJP all the time. Whether they think they're justified or otherwise, whether they are justified or otherwise, it's tiresome looking at their stuff. So look, I'm going to kind of learn those lessons and not be that guy. But I would have loved one of the financial media guys, and they know me. All of them know me. To reach out and go, here, you were talking about this a while ago. Do you want to have a chat?
Yeah, but if they all know you, Carl, it's
I've got a little postscript to this kind of story, because again, we talked when you mentioned this, Carl, just said about is there a compensation scheme or something? You said no. People just, if they've lost it, they've lost it. It's not regulated. I shared in our group, actually, I was just reminded when you were mentioning that, there was something in the UK press last week. Just looked it up now. Ethical Forestry Limited. It's another one of these ones. It was, forests in Costa Rica, promising all sorts of high returns. Inevitably, goes tits up. The whole thing just collapses. There's now legal action pending. So completely unregulated. Nothing to do with, regulated financial planning, financial advice. Just some limited company gets set up, Bournemouth-based.
We pick up the bill.
Ethical Forestry Limited, blah, blah, blah. There's court cases going on. And I was just intrigued as to, was it covered in the article?
Yeah.
It says that, so far, the Financial Services Compensation Scheme stepped in and paid a total of £50.7 million.
It's insane, isn't it? You can just start
bananas.
any old guff and, they're going to be compensated somewhere down the line. So
That's
the real
such a red flag.
losers, the real losers is us directly.
Correct,
Us
correct.
as financial
Yeah,
advisors directly paying that levy every single year.
I trust a brand that called itself unethical more than I trust a brand that calls itself ethical. It's almost like they're screaming at you, don't trust us. If you have to, it's just classic projection.
It's a honey trap,
Well, it's ethical
obviously.
forestry, but I think the stronger point here is, and you're right, Andy, anyone can set up a company, limited company, call it what you want, seek investment, go out there.
Get 50 million, it blow up, and we pick up the bill.
If it doesn't work out, don't worry about it. You get most of your money back up to the limit. It's nuts. But that's the point, Carl. In Ireland, if you go into something like this, you are not covered.
The unregulated investment. So look, it was the Ideas Exchange. This was brought up, and the central bank have been asked, about regulated advisors selling unregulated loan note investments, and apparently there's legislation required or something like that. Now, that's the reason why it happens. And that's why we can't do it. Well, of course you can. There are solutions to this, and look, I think what's transpiring actually is that the advisors are now so afraid of doing any low note investments that this is dying a death in Ireland. But like what was said also at the Ideas Exchange was, well, there'll be something else, because there will always be.
There's always something else.
Yeah. So like the 6% commission that was talked about, it's in almost every instance, it's more than that, because they were doing what we call here double dipping, right? So they were setting up the pension contract, say, right, or the investment contract, getting commission on that, and then recommending the investment and getting commission on the investment.
PRSA corner. You came too early there, Nick, because I am going to talk about PRSAs in a little while.
Double dipping and coming too early. Nick's all over this.
Move on.
That's Alan,
that's
we
what she
just
says.
spoke about the FSCS. We need to look into that in a bit more detail. There must be qualifying criteria for there to be payouts. It can't just be any old Tom, Dick and limited company setting up, calling themselves an investment scheme, and then there being payouts. That doesn't make sense. So for us to look a little bit further.
There should be a warning on any of these.
If it's not regulated,
just say this is not covered by the FSCS.
Yeah, if it's not regulated, it doesn't get the cover. That should be the answer. I don't.
It should be the answer.
I think that might be the case. That might be the case. So we need to look into that further before we get picked up on getting our
let's
FSCS
save that for the regulatory can't get to sleep podcast. Okay, who's next on Ultra True Potential?
Okay, this is a story about True Potential, who are a very successful business in our space. Many people we know have sold out to True Potential. They were paying very big numbers for retiring advisors. The headline is True Potential Wealth Management posts 243 million operating loss. It's because they've got exceptional costs for the year. They've booked 95 million for provision to cover potential redress in relation to switching assets and onboarding client assets, and another 148 million. So about 250 million exceptional loss, which pushes them into exceptional costs, which pushes them into an overall loss for the year. I think the company split into two. It's True Potential Wealth Management and then the True Potential wider group. True Potential Wealth Management looks after 13 billion of client assets. They have got about 1,000 advisors that work under that banner. But the wider group, I think, made a profit and looks after about 34 billion. So there's some huge numbers. I'm not exactly sure about the specifics of what these exceptional costs will cover. It's saying onboarding client assets. That must be switching assets from one place to another. It looks like it's setting money aside for potential claims coming from end clients. Which is similar to what St James's Place did a couple of years ago now, or a year and a bit ago. So it's interesting. They're a successful business, True Potential, and they've put a load of money aside for potential client claims. So
this was the one that I'm speculating here, but I do know.
Can you put your hands up, boys? This is bad podcast etiquette. There's no hands, I see.
There you go.
Smithy, speak.
They were offering, remember, I think it was
Eight times revenue?
8 times revenue to sell your practice. So some people did sell. I mean, that's quite an attractive valuation, to say the least, way above market rate.
Almost twice market rate.
But everything has to be paid for. So I think you got your 8x revenue on the assumption you would migrate your clients onto their internal portfolios.
Yes.
And I'm guessing
portfolios.
in order to make the spreadsheet work, those portfolios are going to be a bit more expensive than the average one. And if you had the average advisor buy, and so they have got a, I think this is what part of the loss has been attributed to. They've got a skilled person review, like a Section 166 order in, which, as I understand it, costs you an absolute fortune just to get it done. And there'll be loads of redress to say, look, did you do the proper thing? Look, we've always said it can be justified for a client to pay more if it's a better product or service. It's not just cheaper is best, but has it been documented? Has it been followed through? Has the explanation been given? So they're obviously taking a hit on there. That's quite a significant loss. As you say, Andy, the wider company is still profitable. But right now, that's a punchy loss for this year.
Carl.
Yes.
Yeah, Andy, you said that they're a successful company because they have so much AUM.
No, I didn't say that. I said they're a successful business.
Okay, sorry. They're a successful business because they have so much AUM.
No,
My
nothing
apologies.
to do because they've got so much AUM. There's one element to it. They've got lots of clients. They've got lots of AUM. They're a very profitable business, and the founders at one stage were billionaires. So I'm putting that down as a successful business in my head. But carry on.
But they've lost 243 million.
No, they've an exceptional cost of 250 million, which now puts them in a 10 million profit for this year.
Okay.
Yep.
So for me, any business buying up a whole load of businesses for 8 times their AUM, it's again not
Times their
not-
revenue.
So eight times recurring revenue.
yeah. Or sorry, their recurring revenue, right?
Yeah.
8 times their revenue is, do you know, like it's just crazy stuff. And this was always going to go pear shaped. And
Carl, 8% was always the starting offer, and then they would
8% of
when push came to
AUM.
shove, there'd be various. Apparently, you very rarely got the full 8%. But to get the full 8%, you had to do it. Use all of their in-house portfolios, all of the clients on the platform, and obviously that doesn't happen because some clients push back and there's some attrition.
Well, we're not 100% sure of the detail, but that's the
carrot.
assumption.
But it's really ridiculous. Yeah, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
yeah, like look, these models, they just for me, they just don't make any business sense at all. So that's why I would push back on it. It's a successful business or company or whatever words you said.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to matter, Carl, does it? Because Nutmeg was a nut job, and they managed to sell for 700 million. You know, you just got to find a big company with some moron spreadsheet in a back office, and who says yes to this, and they'll go ahead and give just
but
the
True
check
Potential are not offering those deals anymore. So somebody somewhere
They've scaled them back. They've scaled
way
them back.
back. They're about half of what they are. But I think they've actually stopped now acquiring businesses.
very acquisitive.
It's like the Pep Guardiola was the greatest manager of all time because in Barcelona he managed Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets. It's like I could have managed that team and won the Champions League. Do you know, if you're going around with these kind of deals, like you're going to accumulate a shitload of AUM. It has nothing to do with the work that you're doing. It's like you're just paying way more than everybody else.
They're aware of that. The founders are not. You know, they're smart cookies.
Do you do voyant training for them?
No, I don't.
No.
Actually, I do for various connected funds. Yeah, so they're looking after, currently, the wider group's looking after 32.8 billion. That's a lot of life savings to be looked after. Leading up to this, they've been profitable most years. So now, obviously, this exceptional cost has pushed them back. So, yeah, it might be a good thing than setting this aside to deal with any potential claims. It might get fully used. Only a proportion of it may be spent. But yeah, interesting story nonetheless.
Okay, let's wrap that one up. Thank you, Ultra. Okay, so Tom Dunbar is the CEO of Integrated Financial Arrangements, IFA, the trade name that we recognise is Transact. He's the head honcho there, and they've just launched their own podcast. I think they're about 4 episodes in. It's worth a listen to. I had an email from Tom. He said, "Hi, Nick. Please give the Transact podcast a shout out on your podcast." I have done that, Tom. Okay, I've done it. If you are short on topics to discuss, I'd value your panel's view on whether advised platforms like Transact should offer crypto ETNs. And we spoke a couple of episodes ago about the FCA slightly relaxing its stance on crypto and introducing, allowing crypto ETNs to be introduced into the UK market. We gave it a good thrashing then. It's like wizards on clouds, and then you're magnifying the risk by using an ETN. So I'm going to go first on this. Whether you guys have got any input, I don't know. I think one of the beauties of proper full-fat platforms like Transact and Fundment or whoever, they're open architecture, and you can pretty much put whatever you want on there, which is absolutely great. And I think, yes, Tom, I think you should put crypto ETNs on your platform because that's part of your proposition. But the corollary to that is, should then advisors use them? And I would say categorically no from the world of Nick Lincoln. But that's a different thing. But yeah, definitely, I think Transact should offer them. It's that is, and again, like Fundment, like Transact, they have their own proprietary software. If they want to get this stuff on, they haven't got to go through a massive third-party software provider. They just do the code and add the seedle, and there it is, and Bob's your uncle. So I would definitely say crack on, but keep an eye on the IFAs that are using it. Thoughts?
Put them on the red list.
Wow. I mean, buyer beware.
It's an interesting kind of dynamic, isn't it? Is obviously what we know is crypto it's a new thing. It's definitely volatile as an asset class, and you need to understand it before you. It's not for widows and orphans, particularly. Does the organization that provides the framework, like the platform, do they carry reputational risk if somebody just piles in, or the IFA says you put all your eggs in this basket because it's the best thing since sliced bread, and it falls 80%, which it has done in the past? Are they concerned about that? Now, your point, Nick, is they should not be concerned at all. They're simply facilitating open architecture, whoever wants to use it. But I do know that SIP providers in the past got themselves into a lot of trouble by allowing.
That's where I was going. Yeah, with my hand raised.
Yeah. So they were. I remember the Harlequin property, and there was a bunch of weird stuff that advisors piled into or in SIP wrappers, and I can't remember what the name. For some of the smaller ones, I think they just ran into. They got fined. There's court cases.
Yeah, I still think that was wrong. I still think. Sorry, Carl. I think the SIP provider, they're just facilitators. At the time, I thought it's very sad for the clients who've lost money, but it's the advisor put them in, not the SIP provider. And I just think of us just casting blame on everybody and nobody taking responsibility. That's my stance.
So just to finish my point, these crypto/Bitcoin ETNs, as the day that we published, they are now available to retail investors to invest in. So advisors, we should know about them. We should understand them in order to be able to communicate with our clients, our thoughts. We've mentioned this several times in the past. They are available, but I honestly don't, as somebody who is generally positive about Bitcoin across the piece as the ability to hold some of it, percentage, you decide what percent, but it's 1%, 10% or whatever. I'm generally positive, but I don't think these ETNs are going to move the dial much at all. There's layers of complexity. Ironically, I don't think from what I've seen so far, they're covered by FSCS, which is bizarre if your ethical rainforest fund can be, and Bitcoin ETNs are not. I think there's some regulatory, maybe PI issues about them, if you're giving advice on them. So despite the fact that they're now available again to retail investors, I don't think you're going to see a lot of IFAs biting the hand off at this stage. When we have like a BlackRock Bitcoin ETF, which is going to come at some point. Which is going to come at some point, then you're going to get more mainstream uptake on it. But
Interesting story about that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nick. I think they should make it available, but not take any legal responsibility.
Yeah, I see the dilemma though. I see the point about it's open architecture and let the advisors go in. I'm not sure, saying that I don't think advisors will, take it, use it that much. I think there'll be a whole ton of advisors will decide that they're now Bitcoin advisors and this is a way to get in and make a few quid on it. But another story from the Arena Capital debate, right? Because it's exactly like you guys said, right? So there was 190 advisors sold this thing. And who were the ones that were named in the newspaper? The SIP providers. So
Wow,
those
really?
guys, the amount of money that they held on their platforms in Arena Capital Investments was published in the newspaper. It should have been the advisors were named. Those guys, all they did was facilitate. So I can see Transact's dilemma here. It's like, should we, as an open architecture firm, we should, but do we then, carry some reputational risk down the line? So it's an interesting one. It's not straightforward for sure.
And just to close on this, there was a good podcast, the FT Advisor Briefing. It came out on October the 3rd. I'll put a link to it in the so-called show notes, where the good friend of the show and the advisor's advisor on crypto, Daniel Parkinson, he with another chap, they are talking through the launch of the Bitcoin ETN. It's well worth listening to. And Daniel, who's a big fan of is obviously he is an expert on this. I know he's been to talk to your firm, Smithy. He's pretty downbeat about this. He says this could go badly wrong. Listen to it. It's 23 minutes, and it's an educational.
Yeah, please do share.
This is one I do think maybe Transact shouldn't need first mover advantage. It's early. It's just because it's available doesn't mean you pile in day one. Keep a watching brief. See if more mainstream products become available, and then. I
suppose I should know this, but do they have the full suite of other ETNs on there? I know like Hargreaves does and all the other open architecture platforms, but I think Transact's a bit more selective on those things.
Don't know.
Anyway.
I don't think they do. I think isn't Transact's view that they will, if upon request, if an advisor says, I really like this fund, they will put it on.
So would they have put on ethical forestry investments?
If advisor, if that was a Steedle number and a proper
it's not
UCITS or what do you call it fund. I think it's just a limited company which
that's a Fugazi. It's a Fugazi. Doesn't exist.
It's a wizard on a cloud.
Doesn't exist.
You're in Pinner, not Palermo. Right. So move on. Wodge, your incipient budget, which by the time the Trappists are listening to this will have been delivered, but what are you hoping for?
Yeah, so I just had to mention it because people will be listening on Thursday going, he's mentioned anything about the budget. So we do record this on a Monday afternoon. Big secret. Hoping for changes to...
Cut that out, Nick. Cut that out, Nick.
Hoping for changes to exit tax, which I've been harping on about for a number of years. And again, this is like new news. Lots of people are harping on about it now. But so our exit tax is 41% and capital gains is 33%. We have deemed disposal that details don't matter. It makes no sense. Equalize them, please. Unlikely, but hopefully he'll drop it somewhat and commit to, doing it over a period of time. I think if we're kind of broadly shitting bricks that the corporation tax windfalls that we're getting at the moment are going to go away sometime. So why not look after our own? So why not make entrepreneur relief much more attractive so that the guys like the Stripe guys don't leg it, make it attractive for them to stay. PRSAs are hoping for an increase in limits for people over 50 and over 60. There, that was your chance there, Nick. We're hoping for new SSIAs, which is basically your ISAs. I think it's too long term for politicians to be thinking about, but they should do it. So that's what I hope comes out. Probably none of them will come, but there will be some changes.
Budget, fella. We over here in the UK, we got to wait another 2 months until
pre-Christmas budget, isn't it?
28th, isn't it?
28th of November.
It's the end of November.
3 weeks before
yeah.
Christmas. Carl, maybe the Irish will
Be
make
shocking.
Ireland could be a tax haven for the British. We'll relocate over there because it could become more attractive. And of course, you've got the weather.
No, we're grand, thanks.
They'll be all right with the Scottish and the Welsh coming over. The English,
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
You nailed it, Andy, but I didn't want to say
You're welcome, Smithy. I'm half Scottish, so give me half a hug.
I think you need purebred English.
I'm half Scottish, half Welsh, actually. I'm in.
Yeah. There will be no such tax advantages for our brethren in England.
A golden visa to Ireland, Smithy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
you should
let's
be
move
so
on.
To
lucky.
Portugal or the
50
island.
minutes in.
What would you prefer?
Ireland
or Portugal?
I saw something on LinkedIn this week from a financial advisor, and I think friend of the show, Matt Vosper. And he just brought up a point. He got a 46-year-old client with 600 grand or so in his pension pot. And the client said, hold on. So these new changes that are coming in with IHT and pensions in April 2027, if I die before I can actually touch my pension, this money is still included in my estate. And Matt said, yeah, and the client wasn't happy. I know you mentioned this before, Anna, but the more I think about this, I think this is outrageous. How can something be in your estate if you can't access it when you're alive? That is just wrong. So this is the thing. So if you die before the state, 57 currently, soon to be 58, the pension pot still falls inside your estate, even though you can't access that money in any form until you've hit that age. And I just think that's so iniquitous. They won't do anything about it. But
just to unpack that a bit more, Nick.
So much for putting your hand up, Andrew.
Sorry.
yeah.
On what front, Nick? Just because you can't have access to it. Let's just focus on that. Let's say you could have access to your pension, but you chose to wait further on. Like, what's your biggest issue?
My point is, if you can't access it, Andy, they shouldn't put it in your estate. You can access your ISAs, and it's fine. They're liable to inheritance tax. I'm just saying, if you die,
you can do things with them
through spending. Yeah,
you can do things with them. You can't gift them. You can't transfer your pension to your spouse or
basically
children.
It's a massive for most of us. It's the biggest outside of the house. Yeah. It's probably for most people their biggest invested asset, even if they don't know about it.
Yeah,
and
I'm
the
caught
law
by this
says
very thing.
You've got this pot of money that you cannot access, and we are going to tax you on it when you die.
But
if you die before the pension
have you not got inheritance tax?
Can you step into the microphone, please, Carl? You're about 3 miles to the microphone. Thanks.
Have you got inheritance tax-free thresholds?
Yes.
Yeah.
But on the numbers we're talking about, you basically breached that.
So, yeah. See, we have all of this here already, and we just got to, it's just a matter of course. So,
yeah.
No, Nick, you're right, and I have raised this before. And by the way, so I remember getting, I posted something about this on LinkedIn. I don't know when this news came out, which is nearly a year ago, and got shot down by a few people who said, "Well, pensions are designed for using for retirement planning purposes." I went, "Yeah, I get that, but you have no option. You cannot access this money." And in the event, and people were saying, well, most people aren't going to die when they're in their 40s. True, but some
will.
Some will. Some will unfortunately get dreadful disease or be an accident or something. I remember posting it's like, "Hi kids, really sorry to hear about your dad passing away. Here's a tax bill." It is immoral, absolutely outrageous. We used to always be able to talk about pensions when I was in the days when I was selling pensions. You say, and the good thing is outside your estate for inheritance tax purposes if you were to die before accessing it. Obviously, then later when drawdown came along and all these various methods you could use to access your fund, then inheritance tax was applied, which was not completely unreasonable. That it was applied on the fund that you had drawn down, you crystallized effectively.
Yeah.
And now they've said, no, everything is included, regardless of how old you are.
Are you proposing the solution it's outside of the estate until you can access it? When
Correct.
You can access it, it's
Yeah, I think so.
That's what it used to be.
That's your halfway house.
Yeah,
Okay.
Here's this enormous pot of money in some cases. As I say, for most people outside of their house, it's their biggest investment. Here's this pot of money that you cannot access. You can't do. You can't enjoy that at all. And
So
if you die
therefore, it's
before the
outside
state
of your
pension age,
estate.
we're going to win.
You're of
That's
pension
wrong.
access. The moment you're of pension access age, it's in your estate.
Yeah.
That's what you're proposing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now it's not ideal, but it's certainly better than the status quo, which is totally wrong.
I'm caught by it. So I'm the exact situation you just mentioned. Someone in their early 40s with some money, and I pop it. My kids have got an additional bill based on what's in my pension. Yeah.
Well, look, we I remember you've run the numbers.
You boys are a little bit older, can access your pensions and stuff like that. So
but we haven't
as affected as this.
Right, edit that out. Timestamp.
Yes.
53 minutes.
Andy, I remember you were saying you had a client, and we had a similar one as well. You got a client who is a business owner who's also got a substantial pension fund, and they're pre-retirement age.
The marginal rate of tax.
The tax bill, remember, because you had business property relief, so there's no inheritance tax on death.
It's huge.
No, they've gone from zero inheritance tax to, in some cases, millions overnight as a result.
Yeah,
how could you have millions
is tripled for a lot of people. Sorry,
if you own a business, Carl, if if you died whilst owning a business,
yeah, but that's a separate issue to inheritance.
It is a separate issue specifically to this, but for a client, for family circumstances.
The pension's fully coming into the estate, Carl, and the business there's like a credit against it. But yeah, loads of people are hugely affected. But yeah, we've got to, operate in the rules that we're given. So
Okay,
So
yeah, just
be it.
raising
This
it,
is what
just
we've got to
raising
do.
it. Just conscious of the time here. We're at 55 minutes in. We're still doing topical tidbits, but we got the last thing on the slate. Wodge, an uplifting story.
Yeah, well, it is ideas
No, it is, yeah.
exchange. We had the meeting last week. I think we mentioned this the last episode, or maybe the couple of episodes ago. It's just really good, and it's really, as I said at the meeting, if it energizes me, I'm going to do it, and this energizes me.
Is it quarterly or monthly, Carl? Sorry.
We did speak about that. We're kind of doing it a little bit ad hoc at the moment.
Okay,
It's kind of,
okay.
I'd say the last time we met was back in May, so there was a big gap, and we're having another one. The next one, actually, I'm hosting it in Limerick in the Meta's office, just to show people around and all that kind of stuff. But look, it's a safe place, I think and hope. We shall see. But it is a safe place to share information. There's, kind of heads up on a few things being shared. There was a CPC update by one of the guys, which was really good, because it was like, it wasn't the boring stuff. It was like, here's what you need to know and what your business is going to be affected by. Four of the group went to Future Proof in the States, and I think three of the four, I think I'm right in this, that's their second time being at Future Proof. Huntington Beach, I think it is.
Yeah.
Said it's just amazing and totally different to anything that has been done in this side of the world. But look, it's just a couple of people, and I've got a few LinkedIn messages, and I've ignored them because I'm really busy and I'm really sorry. But it's not rocket science. Just set this thing up, have a bit of an agenda, get people to share kind of a good news story, what's working for them, and maybe kind of news that they've heard around the place, and have one presenter. There you go. That's your agenda. It's really, really easy. You just got to have this willingness to share, I think, is the thing that will make it work the best. We don't have we have our chairman, our own kind of chairman. We don't have any. I know you guys had external facilitators in the ones you were talking about. We don't have any of that. It's up to whoever presents, decides on the venue, and kind of pays for the venue and puts on the coffees and that kind of stuff. So works really, really well. And as I say, if it energizes you, then you'll go and do it again. This one definitely energizes me. Great, great, great bunch of people.
Great stuff.
That's superb, Carl. There's quite a few little offshoot ideas exchanges that have happened from Trap, which is great. And if there are other people that want to launch one, I think someone was telling me about potentially looking to do one in Sheffield recently.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to get some facility set up where people communicate us, and then we share people local to them. Just on the Future Proof, I know a lot of people are hopefully planning to go to Future Proof in 2026. I think they've just launched their dates. It's the 14th to 17th of September. And I know quite a few people are planning on going out there. So if you are, plan ahead. It's the 14th to the 17th of September 2026. Smithy.
No, that was it. That's all good. Yeah, there's groups in Glasgow, Belfast, I think, Northern Ireland, Sheffield.
Yeah.
I think Manchester maybe. So yeah, that's the whole point. We've been going to groups like this for years, and mastermind group, as you call it.
Masterminds, yeah, exactly.
And you get the right people in the room, and the thing is being candid, sharing your thoughts, and sharing some of your challenges as well. Some of the things that haven't worked out.
Yeah, huge. That's it.
Really helpful. And you use Chatham House rules, so it's not for public, discussion. But and you've got the right people in the room. Very, very, very valuable.
They do talk technical stuff sometimes, and I go a little red in the face and go. Okay. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Right, good stuff.
Right.
Good stuff. Okay, so we are at just best part of an hour on Topical Titbits. That might be a record.
Oh.
So I guess it's time for the meaty potatoes of episode 81 of the Real Advisor podcast, TRAP Trap. And this is something I put on the slate. And I'm aware that what I'm about to talk about now may seem very much a white, privileged first world problem. And I take that on board, especially if you're a client or an advisor starting off in business, and you're scrabbling around trying to get clients, and then you're working full pelt. So is this even a problem? I don't know. What I'm talking about is this. I've been advising since 2001, and I've been doing full fat financial planning since 2008. And my Zoom annual planning meetings, my Zappums, some of them are over now, and it's just ridiculously quick quick time. I feel I know my clients, better than they know themselves sometimes, certainly around the sort of confluence of where money and emotions fits. Nearly all, and this is younger advisors, this is something that will happen to you and you won't even realize it, but it will happen to you the more you deal with clients and you build up trust. I have this happens. The clients do what I tell them without virtually any pushback. It's so easy because they trust me. Because Nick said to do it. We've worked with Nick now for X number of years. We'll just do it. So I don't have the hassle of following up after Zappums and getting people to do things. So the Zappums are really easy. I know my clients really, really well. We've had a great run in the market since March 2009. I know we've had blips along the way. The Wuhan lab leak, the 34% decline in 33 days, or vice versa, whatever that was. But that was 5 years ago. The Liz Truss Let's Give Growth a Try budget, that was 2022, and that didn't massively affect me because I don't have much exposure to UK bonds. I don't have much exposure to UK stock market, and everything is, like you guys, is market cap weighted. That's kind of been and gone. And I'm doing these cash flows in the Zappums, and with Voyant, I can't talk about other brands, but certainly with Voyant, you can compare plans from years ago with the current plan. And I'm looking at plans now that were done 5-10 years ago. And they're remarkably now where the client should be. So they're really easy meetings. There's very little tension or friction. I'm not wishing for a market decline. But I have to say, that's when we earn our corn, we roll our sleeves up. And that's what I feel I'm adding most value in my client relationships. And that's when you go on the front foot as a full fat financial planning advisor, and you say to clients, okay, but here's an extra email with what's going on. Here's my Zoom calendar. If you want to have an ad hoc meeting to talk about what's going through, because that's when we earn our keep, and we keep, we stand between our clients and the big mistake. But we haven't had to do that really in any meaningful form since the great financial crisis. I've got some clients now, probably more than I'd like to, who we've gone to a sort of biennial arrangement with the Zappums. Every that means once every 2 years, Andy.
Thank you.
Because things are so sort of cushy, and I don't know. The question I'm asking myself
but
is,
you're still available during that time, Nick. If anything goes wrong, you'll be the first person to call. So don't underestimate that.
Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. But I don't know if it's the sort of the Protestant work ethic thing, kind of just saying, Nick, should you be doing more for the clients in these good times? Should you be offering additional services, extending the Zappum into other modes of compensation? Or is this just a reflection of a really well-organized business, a good business model, and a lifestyle business that just for the moment is working really well? So I know other advisors, some other advisors feel this. Brett Davidson alludes to it a lot with his newsletters and his messages. Are you kind of, you suffering a bit of ennui? Are you stuck in a bit of a rut? And I don't think I am, but then sometimes I think, God, this is, at the moment, it's all too comfortable, and that intrinsically makes me nervous. So I think, Carl, you want to respond to some of that in some form or another?
Yeah, look, I think it's kind of brave to say it like that, because it is totally and utterly a first world problem, and I know that a lot of our listeners are folks trying to get their businesses off the ground, and they're like, poor you, right? But nonetheless, I think is an issue. There's the first thing I would say is, if you did nothing else, I think asking 2 questions at those meetings, maybe one prior to the meeting, which is, have you anything for the agenda? Now, they'll probably say no because they know you so well, and they might be a little bit afraid of you. But I think I think a good question to ask at the start of the meeting is, what, leaving aside finances, just you and your life, what is the most important thing that is going on in your life now? I think that will generate a discussion around, you'll just have a more comprehensive discussion around things other than just the financial plan. So look, they're just kind of 2 things I would always say to my own team. But I think this is real. I really do think this is real. And what I would do if I got to that stage, Nick, bearing in mind I probably did a couple of times in my career get to that stage, what I would recommend people do is not what you will do or would do. But I think it's worth having that discussion, because for me, it sounds like you're kind of cruising a small bit at the moment. And for me, then there's a phrase, whether it's a little bit salesy, whether it's relevant or not, I don't know. If you're not growing, you're dying. And really, for me, if you're just cruising along and you have loads of extra capacity and things are just getting a little bit kind of same old, maybe a little bit boring, like I know how you your business grows, right? It grows through referrals, but you don't even ask for the referrals; they just come in. And you could change just something really small in that at the end of every meeting, go, hey, by the way, I have capacity. So is there anybody in your network who you feel that could, you know, get some benefit out of a meeting from me because I actually have, you know, some spare capacity? Because what I think, Nick, what you need is you need to get what would energize and motivate you. So I'm not talking just to Nick. I'm talking generally people who get to this phase of their business maturity. It's what energizes, what motivates, what could you really go, yeah, I can commit to that goal. I think that's what you should be asking yourself, as opposed to, are these zappums, are they too short? Because you know, change can be as good as a rest, right? So it's just change it up a little bit. Like for me, in your shoes, and this is what I did do, I'd be kind of hiring people and going, here, can you just kind of look after that? And I might sit in on the meeting now and again, especially if they're going to biannual, Nick, you know, and then I'd be going, that frees me up and I'll drive this thing on. So that's where we're obviously completely different. But I think you could bring more energy to your solo practice by actually bringing in some newer blood and maybe some younger folks, because I know a lot of your
Oh, come on.
no, I know, like Nick has said this before, that a lot of his clients are in decumulation, so they're drawing down or whatever, and maybe go and get some people who are in the accumulation, the Henrys, as they say, and maybe do a bit of work there, because I think that will stretch you maybe a little bit, and that might be good. Like, what gives energy to the practice? That's the question you need to take a step back and answer for yourself. And hoping for market crashes, you know, that's not the solution, because that's just what our job is.
No. And Carl, thanks firstly for your very considered response. And I'm not hoping for it, but I just remember that was the time when you really felt invested in your clients and you just really felt, you know, I'm really doing good here. And it kind of gave you, and still, Carl, for me, and you know, it's still the greatest thrill when a prospect says, yeah, we want to come and work with you, Nick. I mean, don't get me wrong on that. And I still love that. And that'll always be with all four of us, I'm sure. Alan, Ultra, anything to add?
I'll chip in and then Alan can go last. There's a few points here. Well, first of all, compliments to you, Nick. You do use great systems and tech, and you've been plugging away at this for years. You've certainly done way more than your 10,000 hours. You've now become a master. Thank you. Are you waiting for the but? Who would have thought it's a benefit being a financial advisor if you're pedantic, pernickety, dogmatic, and a pain in the arse? Your clients will just want to, you know, get rid of you as soon as possible.
It works for you, Andy, so crack on.
You know, it works for you. You've done a lot of the... okay. So you've done a lot of the heavy lifting in the early stages with clients. They come to us, their financial house is not in order. There's many tasks we need to do to get their financial house in order, focusing on the financial plan and getting the portfolio right. And then obviously the ongoing is more servicing. You are massively, a servicing business. You don't take on that many new clients based on the existing clients that you have. And every year that goes past, the financial house is getting slightly more refined. And less, more work to do. So you, just like myself, you take on clients and you say, I'm available for you, unlimited phone calls, unlimited emails, unlimited meetings, if that is required. Often it's not the case. If they've had a very quiet year and they don't need to contact you because they've had a quiet year, that's a good thing. They'll still hear from you to do the annual planning meeting. You're always, on hand. I don't know what the solution is for you. If you want to take on a load of new clients, then that would just add to your workload. You don't want to grow out the team. You don't want to employ any further financial advisors. So, yeah, I suppose it's a purpose question your end, really. Yeah,
just to reiterate, I'm not sure everything is a problem. I just sometimes think, this is, it's just everything is just going along. This is why I think I'm talking myself into a complete, catastrophe.
Yeah,
but
everything's
just going along really. And I'm aware that people are working their nuts off, not just the younger advisors and in this thing of ours, but all around the Western world. The inflation has roared back the last few years. In this country, wages are. I know people are just working their noses are to the grindstone, just to put food on the table.
But then also we are predominantly a knowledge based most of us are knowledge workers now. You just happen to be a knowledge worker that's cracked it. And you use great systems and technology, and you focus on the right clients, and you put in your years to reach the top of this profession.
To your credit, Nick, you've educated your clients. They don't come in with the first meeting as a sort of pre-packed, understand markets go up, markets go down. You've spent many, many years shaping their thinking, responding to
delivering the vitamin C,
market fluctuations and all the rest of it. And you've got a relatively mature client bank that's kind of grown with you. And so they kind of know the answers. There is less to do. And it is interesting. If you have a steady flow, a higher number of new clients coming in, we've always thought they're the ones that need much more hand-holding and much more communications and much more proactive contact. My question, Nick, for you is this feeling, is it about you and your purpose and direction, or is it more, I wonder if the clients are looking for more from it?
No, I don't think the clients are well. If they maybe this, they could be. They don't emote it. They just seem genuinely happy when I say the meeting's coming to an end. They're the ones that reach they're the ones who reach for the leave Zoom button fastest. No, I don't. I'm just throwing it out there because I think I listen. I am. In many ways, I've never been happier in my life, in all aspects of my life, okay? And everything is really good. But I'm just very conscious this is almost too easy at the moment. Let me reword that. If we do have the next temporary decline, then we'll find out how many of my clients have actually taken on board the vitamin C, because it's been so easy street for so long.
Nick, we had the Trump tariffs this year. It was a minus 19%. If your phones were very, very quiet, I know obviously the next one could be far worse and far deeper. That's again another test. If you had minimal inbound, that again is compliments to your clients.
Like you, I did have minimal inbound, like all of us hope.
Yeah, exactly.
But so, Nick, I mean, there are always things going on. We just talked about sweeping changes in the budget, and there's another budget coming on. There's always things going on, and there's usually we have clients that from one year to the next, not much changes in their life, and then suddenly the daughter's getting married or they want to gift assets. There's always other things going on. What we've done a bit in the past is if we try to, the interesting dynamic is, and I've heard it from my colleagues as well, the 10th meeting in a row, 10 years in a row, for example, where you've been doing proper financial planning from day one, and the investments, yes, there's occasional blips, but they're generally moving up and right, generally positive. They're actually relatively, and again, it's a very ungrateful thing to say, but there's a thing that they're a bit boring to deliver. It's the same thing, but I mean, we should be thankful for that. They're exactly
we've done a good job.
And so it's the feeling, I don't think your clients are not your clients because they get this 1 hour, 20 minutes, whatever it is, Zoom annual planning meet. That's the reason they sign up. They sign up because you get them a sense of peace of mind and financial security, knowing you're in the background at all times. Yes. In the same ways, you don't want to be phoning an ambulance every day or something, but you want to know that if I needed one, I'll go and get one in the case of an urgent situation. So there's a lot of that. The only other thing I would say is, should you wish to, because continual education of your clients, I think, is a valuable thing. If you were to say to them, and don't just say, is there anything else I can do? Because most people will say, no, not really. But if you gave them a range of things, you say, look, I could do another 20 minutes on the investments, what you actually own, what you have, because I think most clients don't really understand fully the investment piece. Do you want to be educated a bit more? Do you want me to do 20 minutes, half an hour on estate planning, and just so you know the mechanics, and should you wish to gift assets to children in future years or whatever, add an educational piece on, which you'll have to be sort of on your game to do it, research it and deliver it. But you can ask them, and maybe most will say, nah, not really. That's fine. But you'll be seen to be doing everything you can. You're absolutely committed to delivering high quality service to your clients, and be grateful. And when the next inevitable temporary market correction comes along, you're fully ready to act.
Thanks, Carl.
Be vulnerable and tell them exactly what you're thinking. Say, I'm just worried that you think these meetings are too short. Is there anything that we can do is there anything I'm missing here? Anything you'd like me to add in?
I will clarify that. I don't think it's not the client. I don't think the clients are worried about it being short. I think, in fact, but joking aside, I think they quite value that because they know I'll only say something if it's worth saying, and I won't extend the meetings out. It's just this sense of, it's just like this is all
That's a
I've
new
got
word.
it so honed down.
Ennui.
And also, I'm a proper one-man band. I mean, even Andy does get some external help. I'm a proper.
Yeah.
So you, Carl and Alan, you after this is shut down, recording this, you'll go back to your and there'll be things with the team, good things and bad things going on that have nothing to do with clients. But that keeps you involved in the business, keeps your brain matter going. I don't have any, obviously I've got voices in my head, but I can medicate that to a degree, but not to the same degree
that. For me, Nick, your gut is telling you something, and at your peril, ignore your gut.
Okay, thank you. All right.
This has been a therapy session for Lincoln.
Yeah. It's quite funny. The last beer I went for with Nick, I started telling him a story, and he said, "Andy, be quiet. We're having a beer." I said, "Well, what did we talk about then?" He said, "We're men. We just sit here and think."
I did say that. I said, we sit here and we push it down.
I had all these stories to share with him, and he just said, "Andy, we're going for a drink.
That's
That's
up
quiet."
at this pub, and he just does rabbiting. It's like, Andy, for Christ's sake, give it a rest. He went to some silence, which I said on my first date to Penelope. Can you believe that? I said listen,
But just
really talking too much.
my final point on this one, which is maybe for a longer conversation, is. I mean, just to use the car analogy. So, we have our financial MOTs in January, February, March, and the rest of the year is just servicing things that go wrong. Hopefully, there's no servicing because everything's okay. To increase this, some advisors have 6 monthly meetings, and I know you boys have experimented with this in the past. Maybe Nick not, but Alan and Carl maybe. Yeah. And other firms have quarterly meetings, and we know that they often turn into just focusing on totally unimportant investment movements, looking at funds. It's an investment derby. It's not proper financial planning. And some advisors get confused and think, well, they're paying me a lot, so therefore I have to see them every 6 months. Again, I think that's a mistake. Just because they're paying you more doesn't mean you want to increase the pain or enjoyment of having these meetings. So very brief thoughts on increasing your annual planning meetings to every 6 months, which for me, it's a massive no. I'm available for servicing, for ad hoc, for things going wrong, but having it set in your offering, I think, that was a
classic.
Nightmare.
I think it still goes on for you got your classic gold, silver, bronze service proposition.
Yeah, the platinum
bronze
people
was
we
an
meet
annual
every 3
meeting.
months. It's like,
and I remember.
Can I be
speaking,
platinum and meet you every 3 years?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that part of the service?
No, I remember speaking to like a wealthy client years ago, and we never did this. We was talking about it. Moved to quarterly meetings because he's a big client, pays big fees and all the rest of it. He went, I would pay extra just to meet you once a year.
Yeah.
Why have a dog and bark yourself?
That is the perfect answer. Right, gents, thank you for that. I think that was quite an unusual meat and potato. I am conscious of time.
We should revisit this, Nick, in the future if you make some tweaks and changes, and then come back and share.
He's not going to do that. He's going to listen. He's going to listen to everything we said and ignore it.
No,
okay.
Right, we're at 77 minutes in. God help us. So let's move on to the next section of the show, which is where we answer the Trappist questions. I can see Postie's at the front door. She's dragged the bulging sack to my front door, and this is where we answer questions from our beloved Trappist audience. You can click on the link in the so-called show notes and leave your question, or you can click on the pinned tweet on X or the pinned X on Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and we do get through them. And who's this one from today? This looks like an overseas stamp on this one, so this could be somebody from outside of the UK and Ireland. This is from a Mr. Patrick Duggan, who I believe is from South Africa. And he says, "Hi, gentlemen. Thank you for the fantastic podcast. My question is around how you serve to educate your clients' children about investing. We're all aware of the complexities that can materialize with intergenerational wealth transfer, and as advisors, the impact this may have on our client bases. And so I think that paying it forward by educating our clients' kids is a great idea. Do you do it? If so, then how do you do it? Question for all of you. Thank you. Thank you, Patrick Duggan. Who wants to go with this? So keep the questions firing in. We do have to give them a really detailed read before the show starts and give considered responses.
We've talked about this in the past, haven't we? We've talked about it. Depends what you mean. If you mean just educating kids, just, I don't know, what would that be? Running a workshop for children and stuff. We haven't done that, but we will when we talk to clients and they raise various issues and the children are becoming more mature, becoming adult, where there's conversations around gifting money to children and what have you, then we'll speak to them. We used to, I mean, many years ago, say we'll do full planning for all your children for free. We used to do that. That was something that came from, you mentioned it before, Paul Etheridge. Paul Etheridge used to do that as the founding father of financial planning. Would offer free financial planning services to your children up until the age of 30. But then the more you look at that, and someone's got 3 kids, and you're doing financial planning, you got to do the full fact find, full everything, onboard them as clients. It would just wipe out all the profit you're making from parents. So through experience, we step back from that. But we will absolutely, on request, meet with and continue to do, meet with children, speak to them, do one-on-ones, but not necessarily take them on as clients. Andy?
Yeah, when I take on new clients, I say one of the benefits is I look after families. If you've got any, usually it's adult children, 18 plus, I'm available to answer any questions they have about buying a house, mortgages, investing. Obviously, if clients said, I've got a young son, daughter that wants to learn about X, Y, Z, I'd obviously rock up and, help them as much as I can. I obviously look after the investments for grandchildren, children. So Jice is in the UK, so I've got loads of kids that are, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to, 16, 18. But I don't do anything super proactive in this space. I've done various things over the years and gone into schools and talked to sixth forms about credit cards, and you just get a massive load of blank faces. They're just generally not interested in this stuff. Yeah. But I'm sure someone else will say, no, we go into schools and we share stories and we have great success. It's just not my personal sweet spot. I can just about talk to 55-year-old financial advisors.
Yeah, I think the question was about, there's this element which we've also had a past episode on.
Wealth transfer.
Wealth transferred. You want to protect your own interests as well as helping your clients, of course.
Yeah, I get it.
Running educational workshops and things. I mean, my slightly cynical view is you can run all the workshops, all the training programs. If the children of your current client doesn't really like you, doesn't engage, you're not using the relevant technology, you could have done all the workshops you want. They'll just find another advisor that particularly wants.
But also, there's enough clients. There's enough clients in your sweet spot anyway. You don't have to overly worry about some, an unknown in the future. As in your 64-year-old client not leaving money to the child that then won't become a client. Focus on the clients that are ready to take help today.
But just do it for existing clients. If they specifically ask you, could you have a word with John and Sarah, because
tell them in the welcome meeting. So if you've got any adult kids that need help with anything to do with money, I'm not looking to take them on as a client. I just want to be a sounding board. They've got a pension at work they need to look at. Like it's a huge benefit, and lots of kids of adult children have taken up that offer.
No, my hand's raised, Andy. You're not really getting this system down at all, are you? Struggling. A couple of very quick points. I would say I think this might be self-selecting as well, the audience that we deal with, because the two people that come into us for financial advice are going to be generally maybe a bit more savvy with money and investments.
7-year-olds, 8-year-olds.
And they'll have a bit more invested wealth, and they probably have spoken to their children a bit more than the great masses get spoken to by their parents or whatever, the care workers. And the second thing I say, and just on the Zoom front, and I know some people still love physical meetings, and I get that, great. But one of the great things about doing online planning meetings with clients is you can say, as they get older, by the way, if you'd like Melinda or Michael, your daughter or your son, to step in on this Zoom meeting, I'm more than happy to do it. And that's a great way of just bringing them in. And I've got numerous families now where I do that, where you've got mum and dad and then the offspring in the meeting, all in different parts of the world, or different parts of the UK, certainly. And it's just, they can see you and they get a feel for you. And as Alan said, doesn't mean they're going to come on board with you, because this is a human business, and some people are going to be attracted to us for reasons we'll never understand, and some people are going to be instantly repelled by us for lots of reasons that I do understand. But just get them into the Zoom meeting, get them into the planning meetings. Far easier to do online. Carl, sorry, anything to wrap this up on?
No.
Okay. All right. Let's move on, because we are at 84 minutes, and we'll go on to Culture Corner.
I think it's me today. It's the Boris Becker podcast on the High Performance podcast. Boris Becker is on there. Have you listened to it, Carl, or not?
No, not yet, Andy.
Okay.
will do.
Boris Becker on the High Performance Podcast. It is superb, well worth 2 hours of your time. Very open, unfiltered. Talks about the challenges of advising young, wealthy sports professionals, having the right people around you, the wrong people around you. He gives a lot of insight into the banks that he's dealt with, the bankruptcy system in the UK, things he got right, things he got wrong, his time in prison, again, using his social skills to try and keep out of trouble. Again, the issues with the prison system. It is well worth 2 hours of your time. It's definitely one of the best podcasts I've listened to this year.
Brilliant.
More impactful for us money professionals because we get an insight into the mess that he got, with having bad advisors around him, which is hopefully becoming less and less of an issue with more, ethical, better focused financial advisors, focused on sports professionals. So, anyway, check it out. It's great.
We'll do that, Andy. Thank you. Okay, I've got two. One's really, really quick. For some reason in my life, I managed to get through to the grand old age I am without reading Orwell's 1984. What a brilliant, prescient book it is. It's not very long, and in a time where an Irishman, Graham Linehan, can be arrested at Heathrow for hurty words he said in the USA by armed policemen, where in this country they want to bring in a digital ID, and we know what a cluster muck that is going to be. If you haven't read 1984, do yourself a favour and read it. Orwell wrote this book, 70, 80 years ago. It's like the manual for how to do it now. You think they're actually reading this as verbatim as the way. But my proper longer one is the Peter McCormack Show. He's a Bedford-based businessman, owns Bedford Town Football Club, has loads of guests on his show, very down to earth.
Bedford Royale.
Big Bitcoiner as well, Nick, as you know.
Yes, he is a big Bitcoiner. That's how he started off in the podcast.
Called Bedford Royale, Nick.
Okay, fine. Thank you. That's just brilliant. I'm going to make sure that note goes in there.
Yeah.
Bedford
Just get your
Royale.
facts right next time you come on air, yeah?
Yeah. Right. He had Nick Leeson on his show, and in 1995, Nick Leeson brought down the oldest bank in the world, Barings Bank. And it was a good time to be called Nick Lincoln, because Nick Leeson is also from Watford. So people don't... You're who? Nick Lincoln, Nick Leeson from Watford. A couple of clients were in the same year at his school, Parmenter School. But he's very, he admits he did wrong, but he's quite entertaining, and it just, takes you back to that time and what he did and how he got away with it. It was a very stuffy old kind of bank, and they just didn't have any duty. I mean, their systems were just absolutely unbelievably bad.
It's a good film with Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor is brilliant, actually. Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Really good. It's funny the day everything goes pear shaped. He's like, "We need to leave," kind of now. He closes down the computer and
he went on the run, didn't he?
He talks about that. And he says,
I've
"Did
clicked
you
a
have
few
any
things
plan?"
on
He
the
said,
screen
"No, I'm
and
just
went
going to keep on running. I'm just going to run."
Yeah.
And then eventually, I think they got to Germany.
He
By
ended
that
up in
stage, the police were
Ireland,
waiting
didn't he?
for him on the runway.
He managed. He was chairman of Galway City Football Club for a good few years. For how that happened, only the Lord
Yes,
himself
he still
knows.
lives in Ireland. Yeah, he mentions
Does
that.
he?
Still lives in Ireland.
Yeah. He doesn't say where, but he lives in Ireland. Yeah. Okay, so that's me done. Next.
I'm put my culture corner is putting two things together, which we've mentioned before. I think Andy talked about My First Million, that podcast. There's been some great episodes. It is definitely one of the best podcasts around. I think very interesting guests they have
for business
owners and entrepreneurial people. But the most recent episode is Will Guidara, if that's how you pronounce it. Who's the author of the book, which again, we've mentioned before. I think all of us have read his book. Excellent book. Unreasonable Hospitality. Ran what became the best restaurant in the world.
11 Madison Avenue.
Incredible restaurant in New York City. But it didn't start out like that way. And just so many insights. And if you haven't read the book, just tune into the podcast and listen to what Will Guidara has to say about business building, about going the extra mile for your clients and customers, about hyper-personalization in your service delivery. I mean, the book's incredible for how they just created something which became the best in the world. And I was just reflecting on it. In the world, we're banging on about AI. AI is going to change everything, and AI will automate things. A lot of the boring, repetitive tasks. But if you're able to therefore use more capacity, more time just to deliver just an extraordinary service experience, and this might link into some of your things, Nick, as well in the past on our meat and potatoes today, because everything becomes referable. That's just, I mean, if you ever went to that restaurant, you'd be telling everyone about it because it was just so ridiculous how good it was. So I do think there was lots of lessons in this podcast episode for financial planners as you grow your business, want to be unique, want to attract more of your ideal customer from someone else who's done it really successfully. So it's well worth tuning out.
People won't remember what you did. They'll remember how you made them feel.
Exactly
That's
right.
He's very, very good. Sorry, Andy.
Oh, is that your point, Nick? No, fine. Just on the same theme, there's an awesome show on Disney Plus called The Bear, a restaurant in Chicago that then turns into a Michelin-star restaurant. It is insane. It's an absolutely amazing show. So strong recommendation if you're looking for something to watch on TV. Over to you, Carlos, to see us out.
Very good. Sorry, Nick. Do you want to say something?
No, I think I
Hands
just
up,
made
Nick.
my point.
Hands up, Nick.
No,
Your hand is raised. Your hand is raised.
And so is Andy's.
Oh,
Sorry,
that's a glitch. There is a glitch.
that's-
That Riverside told me about this. At this time of day,
Oh,
it cannot.
yeah.
Well, I just love that.
Oh, come on. Get us out of our misery.
Morgan Housel was on the Meb Faber show, or Mel Faber show, is it? Yeah, really good. He's a new book, Morgan. Morgan just gets it. He's like almost our god for lifestyle financial planning.
Meb.
Meb. Yeah,
Close
Meb.
personal friend of Andy and I, as we mentioned before.
Many drunken lunches with him.
He's
He's a drunken
hardly.
lunch in London with.
Do you know he
Morgie.
mentions in the podcast there's been 10 million purchases of The Psychology of Money. 10
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Mental.
Sorry, his
But-
new book, Cole's about spending, isn't it?
Yeah,
Sorry,
how to
exactly.
spend it.
Yeah.
What's
How
it
to
called? How to spend it, yeah.
I didn't listen to the book yet, so I think it's How to Spend Your Wealth or something like that. But he just goes through a couple of really, really important points about, enough is different for everybody. And, your kind of backstory, kind of guides what enough is for you and whatever. But also then the whole retiring with purpose, he touches on that as well. It's a really engaging, he's just brilliant. You can listen to him.
He's
art.
a great
It's
communicator.
called
Yeah.
The Art of Spending Money. The Art of Spending Money.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, it's
So it's his third book, actually. Psychology of Money, as you say, it's the biggest seller, 10 million. Wow, that's amazing. And then he had Same as Ever, which I personally thought was better than the Psychology of Money for various reasons. But for the masses, the Psychology of Money is great. And then the next one, the Art of Spending Money, third trilogy.
Yeah, so listen to the podcast, but I'll be definitely getting the book. I think he's a brilliant communicator, so look forward to that one. I would say everybody should listen
Very
to
good.
it.
I would say as well, just in fun, we all four of us listen to a lot of podcasts, watch a lot of YouTube, read books, all that stuff. These we've distilled these down every 2 weeks to the very best that we found. I really encourage. I'd always wondered, does anyone ever go to the show notes, link it, check the link, download, listen. These are all good quality, and we've all agreed that if we haven't come across anything, we just don't mention it, don't say it.
It's funny you say that because I had two other things in, and they were a bit meh, but I had nothing else. And I actually listened to this one last night, and I went, this one is worthwhile. So,
There we go.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
There have been episodes where we don't have something we think is good enough. We don't include it. So Trappist, we're not just putting this in there for filler time.
Well. Someone did put in IKEA fucking wardrobes one time. So.
Yeah, I say bring back the IKEA wardrobes.
That's
The
got
amount of
legendary
people that
status,
have
Carl.
taken me up on that
Mouse
service.
taping.
All right, you rabble. We're at 93
Come
minutes
on.
in. Shoot me. There you go, dear Trappist. Episode
You want
81
me to put a link
comes
to
to a
my
close.
mouth
Another
taping
pile
this
of
time?
traps slides down the U-bend of Father Time. Thank you for your precious time. Please do leave a review on iTunes. 6 out of 5 stars is mandatory, or your podcast app of choice. But I think that's pretty much it. The YouTube channel is still going, still getting well over nearly 1,300 subscribers now. You're probably getting annoying little adverts come in to you if you watch us on Trap. But that's because we're just mega successful people, and that's the price you pay to be able to look at us.
by the way,
so
we
until the
haven't
next
had a
time,
penny
take care of
from
that.
it.
Adios.
Yeah, not a
Trap
penny.
back, and we'll see you on the other side. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I'm going to be getting you boys mouth taping in Lisbon.
Sorry, I dropped an F-bomb. Sorry about that, boys.
It's been a while since we've done one. I think it's only fair.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay.
It's good. It's funny how it always ends up to be just almost exactly 90.